Right. Oops. No, I did this last time. Are we here as you're looking at my, let's see, how do we do this? Okay, but, okay, Stephanie, I'm gonna need your help. Maybe his other presentation ran long. You're right, it did. Now, how does it look this way? It doesn't let me do this. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Better. Okay, so it's just a problem. I'm just gonna keep it like this. There we go. We're here at St. Peter's. We're overlooking. I can't really read your comments, so I'm not going to be able. Maybe once we get to the shade, I will. I will be able to respond more properly. That is sideways now. Oh no. Okay. Okay. So this is unfortunate. That is sideways. Okay. So
The orientation's probably
the orientation, yeah. So the problem was, is just I'll just explain to you, so I don't forget to do this next time. What I did was my orientation was locked on my phone when I started the video, and so now we're stuck with this. But buongiorno. Anyways, here we are. Let's turn this back around, and you can see I just finished my presentation with my friend Matthew, who's right here.
hi everyone.
He was cited a bit in the presentation because I talked about social media, and it was with a group of media professionals that are here with the EWTN Summer Academy, and we're just overlooking St. Peter's. It's absolutely beautiful. And so now what I'm going to do is we're going to go walk through the garden here, and then we're going to walk down around the neighborhood of St. Peter's and walk down Borgo Pio. But let's turn back around. We're just going to walk out of the grounds. Let's look at this beautiful view again. Oh, sorry. It's just second nature to turn you into. Okay, keep this way. They say hi, Matthew.
Hi guys. It's a pleasure to be here to be featured.
Okay. No, but Matthew is working with EWTN, so he was able to participate in the presentation we just had. He asked a stunning question about what will happen if social media, if these apps that I'm using go away. How do I maintain the audience? But nonetheless, we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to enjoy our walk through Rome, which I'm sorry, it's been such a long time since I've been going live with you. I want to ask you, as we're walking now, if I would go live in the morning, Rome time, so it'd be late in American time, very early for some European audience members, would you want to join? Because it would be basically, I'd be able to go live in the 5 a.m., 6 a.m. hour here, which would be 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Central Time. No one's responding now. The question is, would my dad be there? Uh, but here we are. We are on the Janiculo Hill, which is not one of the seven hills of Rome, but it's pretty well known. First, I don't want you to miss the beautiful sight. Maybe sometimes that would work. Yeah, I was just thinking it'd be nice to do a variation of showing you Rome in the morning, which is one of my favorite things to do. Now that I live outside the city, I'd have to take an early train to get into the city, but that's worth it because I want to show you. It's just Rome in the morning, like Sunday morning, for example, is just such a beautiful. I don't think I'd wake up at. I don't think I'd give a tour at 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning, but 10, 8, no, 10 p.m. Central in the U.S., 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'd be like a 6 a.m. tour here. I just thought because if I'm here, always giving evening tours of Rome, sometimes night tours. I mean, I know, especially during the week, you guys are working, and so. Anyways, we are on the Janiculum Hill, which yeah. So this is the Urbanianum, which is the university for the propaganda fide. So this place is basically mission central. Actually, the center where we just departed is a great place for mission activity, meaning a place to collaborate and meet in Rome, and it's run by, I don't know what it's run by, but it's a center for missionary work. And so also is this college here. So you have some African seminarians here, you have Indian seminarians here. And if you've ever seen liturgies in Vatican liturgies in St. Peter's, sometimes you see these seminarians serving in their cassock. It's a black cassock with red piping and has like, yeah, it's double breasted in a way that the collar connects, the buttons connect on the side, and but it's black with red piping. And so it's quite a distinguished cassock. They're one of the colleges which wear their cassocks, because if you know this in the past, the way that you'd be able to tell seminarians apart in the city is based upon the cassock they were wearing. So like the Germans, for example, had this very stunning red cassock with a black fascia and a black saturno, which is the hat that Roman clerics wear. It takes its name from Saturn, from the rings of Saturn, saturno. And so it has a wide brim of a hat. And you can wear it all year round. You can wear a straw one. You can wear a beaver one. Which one would you like, Matthew?
I'm a beaver fan. So
Yeah. But this, oh, sorry, we just had to take in the views. I mean, look, first these, we don't get to see these often on Crux Stationalis tours, but these are the Roman pines. They're iconic umbrella pines. But these grounds are just beautiful. I was here giving a pilgrimage a couple months ago, and we stayed on these grounds. I always like to terrorize the what are they called?
Seagulls.
Seagulls, rats with wings, which apparently we brought back from Americas.
Do we really?
Yeah, well, not we, but you know,
First.
they originally just came back with the boats from the visits of American visits. You're right, and now.
Spices that we have in modern Mediterranean cuisine.
Let's talk about food, Matthew Santucci. Because no, it's interesting because everyone thinks tomatoes, or they think of Italian cuisine, but when would that have come?
That would have come in the early 16th century, so we're
Oh,
late 15th, early 16th century.
Okay, so
when these first trade networks were established between the Americas and Europe. And obviously that was the Spanish and the Portuguese. It was the Spanish actually who first opened up those trade networks, as well as the Portuguese. They were working in tandem. Of course, the Spanish had their sort of mission networks set up in Central and what we now know as like, North America. So mainly like, New Mexico, California, Florida, that area. Whereas the Portuguese, of course, are much more centered in South America. Which explains why, of course, Brazil, exactly. Portuguese.
Did you hear Matthew? Does he pick up in those purple flowers are nice. Yes, they are. Actually, they're in much greater bloom now than they were 2 months ago. So when I was walking in this afternoon, I thought, wow. I'm a bit tired. It's tiring. Quietly, yes, they heard you.
96 degrees.
No, it's yeah. What is it now? 90. No, blocking. It's like 93 degrees right now, which is like 35 Celsius.
Exactly,
34, 35 Celsius. So we're just leaving these grounds here. Matthew's gonna go home. This is kind of a confusing part to walk around, but everyone who comes to Rome experiences this little confusing area. So we'll walk through it. We'll navigate it in a way. Here is the entrance to a parking garage for tour buses. You're leaving? Which way are you going?
You're going down this way.
I'm going down this way. There's a car coming.
I'll go with you, actually.
Yeah. So that's like, if ever you come on pilgrimage in Rome with like a tour group, you use this parking garage lot, which was built for the Jubilee in 2000. JP2 did a lot of building like that. And just to orient you, so this is the Collegio Urbanianum and the others are up there. We started on the other side of that building. And then over here, see it? there is the North American College just beyond that building in the background. So that's where the seminarians, the American seminarians, study. It's the best way to get down here.
Probably this way, Jacob. Because if you go down that way, then you have to go across the street.
So here's more of the parking garage. So if ever you come on tour groups here, this is where you kind of come in and out if you're going to the Vatican area, or sometimes if you're lodging.
I think they connected it now with the Caput Mundi.
I actually want to show you that. There's a new shopping center, as Matthew's talking about, called Caput Mundi. You feel like you're at the center of the world is the branding. You're basically inside a hill in the darkness of what is that hill next to the Vatican, and you feel like you're at the center of the world. It's a shopping mall. Have you been up? It's not. I've only been to the coffee shop, and as you're waiting for your buses and everything, there's a coffee shop, and so you can get a coffee, water, things like that. What I'll do, I'll go see if it's worth it. But one day, maybe I can't go live because you're inside of a hill and there's no connection. Otherwise, I would have walked you through that right now to go to the Vatican, but can't do that. So here we are. We're coming down this hill, the Gineculum, and this is. I don't want to talk about that. Rome. So this is San Giovanni Battista dei Fiorentini, which is where the relic of the foot of Saint Mary Magdalene is kept. I know. And then we're going to, what I'll do is I'll walk across the Tiber and I'll show you this nice evening light of Ponte Sant'Angelo, Ponte degli Angeli, the Bridge of the Angels, which I know we've seen already, but we've seen it at night. So I want to show you it at this hour when the sun is sort of, it's not yet the golden hour, but we're getting close to it. So there's a tunnel here, which you'll also become familiar with whenever you come to Rome. It's the 64 line, bus line goes through there. Yes, I'm usually running to catch my train. I run through that tunnel. Allora io vado di qua. Sì. Okay. I'd tell you the history of all these walls, but these are Aurelian walls, no? Matthew?
Yes.
Okay. This is also a very familiar site if you're coming. I want to show you, actually I've never done this for you. This is new. I'm going to show you how we come upon St. Peter's in the way that it was intended to be come upon. It's meant to be, it was only in 1950 that the road, that straight road, which all of you know from photos and videos, it finished in 1950, 1930, 1950. But Via della Conciliazione, which is also the name of the street that I live on in a different town, so it's quite funny. I can tell people that I live on Via della Conciliazione, and they say, "Oh wow," and then I say, "It's not Marinella." So Via della Conciliazione was finished in 1950. Began sooner as a sort of, it was a consolation prize in signing the Lateran Treaty. However, it ruined, not that it's completely foreign to the design of St. Peter's, but it ruined really the intention of just stumbling upon the massive welcoming piazza of St. Peter's Square. And so we're going to walk up Borgo Santo Spirito to come upon and stumble upon the dome of St. Peter's and enter the square that way, as opposed to entering this sort of long stretch of street, which is a nice perspective, but it, however, was not the original plan of St. Peter's, which, if you remember from previous videos or lives on Instagram, are you inside or outside the walls? Hold on. I actually always, Stephanie, that is a very good question. I always wonder that. No, this would have been outside the city walls. This is outside the city walls because the Vatican was outside the city walls.
Correct.
But
yeah,
it seems like we're inside the walls now because
it's a giant labyrinth. You never really know where you are half the time.
you wouldn't have had. That's a question. I'll have to answer that question later, Stephanie, because every time I walk through that gate, I wonder the same question because it looks as though we are on the inside now, but that doesn't make sense because this is actually not part of ancient Rome. So this is Santo Spirito in Sassia. I pointed it out in the Instagram live. There's a great devotion there to Divine Mercy every day, and we're coming in. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Can you see it? Ugh, yeah. You still coming? This is the entrance to the Jesuit Curia. So we were on the other side of this building, up looking down upon the Curia during my Instagram live this afternoon. Another one of those moments where I'm going to get run over. But I want to just walk into the square and then I'll walk you down Borgo Pio. How was my presentation?
Very good. A+, really. No, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but Jacob definitely brought a lot of wisdom and was able to communicate with the participants in the summer academy, because these are people who've been selected who are either newly grads or have been working in Catholic journalism, and so his whole presentation touched upon what is Catholic journalism, what is Catholic social media, how to utilize it, how is it an instrument of authentic faith and evangelization, and so those are really, I think, important things.
Actually, yeah, I wanted to connect that one woman who asked about one woman asked about how do you not get sort of fed up with the stress of, oh, how do I create new content, or how do I, because that was a very poignant question because it happens to everyone, and you can give. I don't think my answer was cliche, but it can appear cliche if you say that prayer has to be the foundation of your work when you're working. Well, any Catholic, but when you're working to promote that message in a social media sphere, actually, we need to get on the other side. This angle is getting blocked. You need prayer, and you need also friends that you rely upon for sort of collaboration to it's hard to use that word because then everyone thinks you're just trying to collab on a reel.
Right. No, but collaboration to bring
yes. You need social life, proper social life, and even I was sort of faking it till I make it, talking about the Vatican document because I started reading it yesterday. There's a document. There's a document which I told them they all need to read, which came out of the Vatican, about social media, about Catholics working in the social media. And you might have seen headlines about how people saying, "Oh, the Catholic wants, or the Vatican wants to sort of curtail those working in social media to sort of only promote one side of the message, and we need to stand up." No, it's precisely not what it is, because they even gave credence in the document saying, "Wow, there are people out there working." What's going? What's that?
So Sprenica was a United Nations disaster in the 1990s in the Balkans, and so they're probably trying to raise awareness about how the UN troops went in and there was some of the ensuing violence from that. But that's a whole other can of worms.
No, we don't need to get into that today. Next week we'll talk about Sprenica. Nice. So look how beautiful this is. This is the best time to come. Well, one of the best times. There's always a different time to come. That's the best time. But this afternoon, when I looked down, there was no one in line.
It's so nice right now because since the Wednesday audiences are suspended,
all of it, all the way to the front.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So during July, the Pope will begin his audiences again, like mid-August. So it used to be August. I don't. It's kind of up to whatever. The Pope doesn't give the general audience from the beginning of July to mid-August because it's just way too hot. He used to, or Pope Benedict used to, and popes prior to that used to go to Castel Gandolfo, and there'd be audience. With it, just Angelus. And he doesn't do the Angelus at all.
No, he does.
Does he? Yeah. So maybe he continues every Sunday still if he's in town, the Angelus during the summer. He did this last Sunday. So, anyways, wow, this is a beautiful time. It's still hot, but I should have gotten. I was gonna try to get Colm Flynn to come on live because you can collab now on a live video, but alas, can only do so much in one day. So we're just gonna leave again, Vatican City, as you might know, due to the Vatican Treaty. This is the end of the Vatican City States. So that's Via della Conciliazione, the straight street that we were talking about. Which way?
Going this way, Jacob.
Yeah.
Going this way. I got
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Later.
Ciao. We're gonna walk this way. Oops, let me give that a nice view. Wait, so who's all here? I see Stephanie. I see Diana was here, right? Send a comment if you're here. We're going to, let's see, let's go this way. It was so crazy when I was doing that pilgrimage in May. It was like everything was happening that week. When we went to the general audience, the Pope took a phone call, which has happened in the past. You've seen it in the past, but it happened during the audience that we were at. Deanna's still here. John is still here. John, thank you for your badge on Instagram earlier. So this is one of the fountains. There's fountains in the neighborhoods of Rome. This one's one of the most beautiful ones. It has the papal tiaras. So fountains were set up in the city in the different neighborhoods. Oh, Justin, my brother is here. These fountains were set up. I really apologize that I'm filming in this orientation because I messed up at the start of the video. In order to redo that all, I'd have to go delete the live and start another live. And so unfortunately, this is just a social media faux pas. But that fountain, there's fountains in the neighborhoods of Rome, which were built in a way to identify the neighborhood. And so that one's the most iconic one, being the Borgo neighborhood, and with the papal tiaras on it. And we're going to walk to another one, place where you see Swiss guards every day. So not only was that week that we were doing the week that I was doing that pilgrimage, the Pope took a phone call during the audience. But also, what happened one of the nights was this man came with refused entry, and then he went around the block and came charging at the gate and got all the way up through into the courtyard where the Swiss guards make their profession. But the Swiss guards are dressed here usually in blue. There's 2 Swiss guards, and there's police up there. So one of the Swiss guards shot at the wheel of the, we're going to cross the street here, shot at the wheel of the car and stopped him. Yeah, it's just great. I mean, because this is open all night. This is how, during the night, this is the way that anyone who lives in the Vatican City gets into the city. So that gate is always staffed and by the Swiss guards. So let's walk down Borgo Pio. No, but so today I gave a presentation at this EWTN Summer Academy, which was quite interesting because I didn't know who I was presenting to, really. I just knew that they worked in the Catholic media, and some of them are on social media in a greater presence, some of them aren't. But it's always difficult to tell people, oh, the name of my page is Crux Stationalis, because no one knows how to spell it. But it was a good conversation that we had. And yeah, I just presented, this is Borgo Pio. I just presented sort of what it's like being a Catholic in social media and how to grow a page and sort of the experience that I had in growing Crux Stationalis on Instagram and switching into YouTube. And but one of these days I will get my live videos correct and we'll be able to have a proper orientation of the video. Because now when I publish this again, what's going to happen is the page is going to be, if you're watching it on the computer, I assume you're seeing very little on your screen. But so this wall is the wall which goes from the Vatican and goes all the way down to Castle Sant'Angelo. So that is was built originally for the safety of the Pope. If ever, so when the Vatican City was more land, it was more. It was the Vatican City State was only established in 1929, so it's not even 100 years old. It was agreed upon with the Italian nation and the papal governance that the Vatican City State was going to be the resolution of the unification of Italy and the Lateran Treaty. So from basically 1870 to 1929, the Pope was sort of not free. Pius IX, it's interesting, I was giving a tour last Monday, and Pius IX, you see so many stamps throughout the city, but he was basically subject to the Vatican for a lot of his papacy. And then, of course, then even after the signing of the Lateran Treaty, then you had, fascists and the effects of socialist regimes in Europe. So we had even greater limits to the Vatican city-state. But by the way, this is a really nice coffee shop that I like to go to. Really great workers. It's a good one to go to, Borgo Pio, and some decent places to eat around here, but sometimes it can be hard to find. Anyway, so what was I saying? So Vatican City State is basically now the response of the reunification of Italy and the agreement which was agreed upon between the church and the state of the land that the church would have possession of. And then, of course, throughout the city, you have buildings which are known as being extraterritorial. Yeah, Colm. See, I wish I would have got Colm on this live. This is another one of the fountains, established also just as a fountain of the neighborhood. Colm was always showing this in his stories. And then that is more of, beyond there, that building there is the more buildings in the Vatican Museum. Macelleria, that means an old meat store. And there's good gelato. This place is a good place. Mama Eats. It's new here. It's only been here a couple of years. They have gluten-free stuff as well, which is really good. But also the regular stuff is good as well. And there's a bit of a humor. This happens in this area, especially. You get humor like this. This came up during 2020. It's a parody on the vaccine, which, if you just keep it as a parody as it is, you can discern either which way you think the parody was meant for. But sometimes you also see art here which is not making fun of the Pope, but humorizing the Pope's actions. Actually, I've never even seen this. Let me think why this is here. Huh. I've never even seen this. I mean, it's just a modern mosaic, but quite intriguing, huh? Okay, let's keep walking. And then I will home. So there's the castle. So I didn't. So the whole part of this. This wall is the wall I was showing you. So this is allowed the Pope to flee the Vatican and go to this fortress, which was originally built as a mausoleum for Emperor Hadrian, but then it became a fortress. And there's a passageway in this wall And so every year, when the Swiss guards, they take their oath of fidelity to the service of the Pope in May, which commemorates the day that the Swiss guards were killed in service, uh, when the Pope was fleeing to Castel Sant'Angelo, which is one of those things I've mentioned before. One of those things that I've never done. I've never been inside Castel Sant'Angelo. Oh, there's a few more people that have just logged on. If you can comment, that way I can see your presence. In the tour, we have walked from a place that overlooks St. Peter's, and we walked past St. Peter's and into St. Peter's Square. We're just now coming on Via della Conciliazione. I showed you the original plan of how one comes upon St. Peter's, and now I'm going to show you the modern plan. Here's the info point for the Jubilee. There's a Jubilee in 2025, just so you know. Every 25 years, there's a Jubilee. It used to be 100, and then it switched to 25. But there's special graces offered, and the city expects a lot of pilgrims during that time. So it's a beautiful sight this hour. Let's walk towards Castel Sant'Angelo. What time is it? 7:30. You know what? If you'll forgive me, I want to walk. I'll show you. I'll walk to my train station. We'll visit Castel Sant'Angelo and Monte Sant'Angelo another time. But if I could get my 7:30 train home, that would be great. I wanted to announce I'm going to Venice. I was invited to Venice. So I'm going to Venice for a week. So I'll go live in Venice sometime. I don't know when. I'll look at my schedule once I get there and see when I can go live in the evening. I love Venice. I spent a lot of time there during the years of lockdowns here because there was nothing going on in the country. So I had a place to stay and a place to work. And so that's what I'm going to do this week. And of course, enjoy some of the spots that I love to enjoy in Venice. But I love the spirituality of Venice. It's so different than Rome. You have a Byzantine influence in the architecture. You have a more Eastern sort of sense in the chant and the devotion. It takes your breath away. And to take part in it is beautiful. There's a beautiful church devoted to Our Lady in Venice. And also St. Mark is buried there. Also St. Lucy is buried there. So I'll be able to pray at the tomb of St. Lucy, which is a new saint's name, which has entered into my family by one of my new nieces. So I'll be excited to pray for Lucy at the tomb of St. Lucy. Also, the diocese from in Nebraska that I'm from, the Archdiocese of Omaha, has a devotion to her because of the Sicilian influence and population which immigrated there. St. Lucy, oh, beautiful. St. Lucy's your patron saint. Of course, I'll pray for you there as well, Stephanie. But so we're just walking through again, and I'll show you how to get to San Pietro Saints train station. Before I go to Venice tomorrow, I'm also going to give a tour. So I need to see if there's a locker. What do I want to say? A locker, a luggage locker in Termini, which I've never used before. So we'll see if I can stow my bag somewhere. I'm sure there are places but I'm going to end my tour nearby the train station and just hop on my train to Venice. Just showing the three other major basilicas. The person who booked the tour has only been to St. Peter's and hasn't been to the other ones. So I'll show her those and we'll go to Scala Santa. Thank you. Yeah, it's John. Have you been to Venice? Can't remember. We probably had that conversation, but no, it's a beautiful time of day. And I don't know what. I don't know if it's July 11th, right? There's not that many people around. I know it's 7 p.m., so people are getting to dinner and everything. Oh, John, next time you come to Italy, you need to go to Venice. I can give you my hints of how to explore the city. I think Venice is a daunting place for people, but the traditions there, if you dig for them, they're there. The way of life is simple because it's sort of an isolated place. I really fell in love with it in the last couple of years. I never would have gone if I didn't have friends there, if I didn't have friends who gave counsel and advice. This is going to be a beautiful. So I want you to enjoy that. I still need so much more I can tell you and give you for YouTube videos on St. Peter's Basilica. I think I need to devote a month or so filming and studying to ensure that you get everything. What's your favorite city, Cedric? Is it Venice or do you mean the Vatican City? Thanks, John. So if some of you might have seen content from last week, I was in a procession and we started just where that orange building is. We started there. Actually, Cedric was, I think, asking me a question about how did I get into there. But as a member of the confraternity, we were able to begin there in procession, and we went around the back of the basilica and through the gardens. There's some more Swiss guards there. There we go. Bells, the 7:15 bells. And those of you who were here at the beginning of this is the Holy See, the Holy Office, Santa Sede. Those of you who were here at the beginning of the video saw Matthew, my friend Matthew. Matthew has provided some shots for me, some video shots of on Instagram of some masses that I haven't been at. If he's there, or if I was serving and he was taking the photos or videos, he allowed me to use his content. He has a different perspective than I do, so it's nice to sort of freshen up the views and everything. So here, let me just sort of orient you. We started the tour up there where those trees are. There's a little bit of the building you can see, the big Urbanianum, the Collegio Urbanianum. And then that hill, the tunnel which goes underneath that hill is there. And that's where we started, up by that building. Now we're just going to walk under this, which also becomes a common site if you come visit the Vatican. This is how you cross under this Via dei Cavalieri. And here is this Capo Mundi now. So there's this mall here. There's parking. Oops, tripping from the last step. There's parking. There's 3 bathrooms, and they're very, very, very clean. So they're prepping for the Jubilee year. So they opened that. So there's going to be bathrooms there, and there are bathrooms there already that you don't have to pay for. And then here's a nice bar. Actually, it's called All Brothers or Fratelli Tutti. Which is an interesting name for a coffee bar. But it's a nice place also to use the bathroom and to get a coffee. And this is sort of, I'm just showing you this because this is where I'm always walking to get my train. Yeah, so there, St. Peter's just used. So I went under the street there, and now I'm walking up to the train station, which I should make it in 15 minutes. I need to figure out what happened to this place because I know friends who have stayed there on pilgrimage, and now it seems like it's never open. It closed during all the restrictions. This is a good, I'm going to walk past, well, there's a flower stand here, which is quite common in Italy. It's a typical gift whenever you're visiting someone's house. Let's get some flowers from the nearby flower stand. And here is a very good bakery, which opened up into a pizzeria recently. It's called Crux. Which I should. I need to think about getting my bread there every so often. Okay. Here we are. This is just to the left of the Vatican. If you're looking at the Vatican, kind of took you in a big circle. And this train station, so this train station that I'm going to, gets you to seaside towns. So it goes to Civitavecchia, which Civitavecchia is where the port is that the obelisk came in on. So the obelisk, which stands in St. Peter's Square, when it was brought into Italy, not Italy, but when it was brought to Rome by the Romans, it was brought through the port, the ancient port at Civitavecchia. And that's depicted also in the Vatican museums, in the maps of Italy, the hall of the maps of Italy. You can see an image of the obelisk being brought into the port at Civitavecchia. And so that train line goes that way. And that line also goes through Civitavecchia all the way to Pisa. So yesterday I went to Orbetello, which is on that line to Pisa. I'm throwing a lot of names at you. This church is run by the Theatines. If you've been on the lives with me before, I've taken you to another Theatine church where there's an incorruptible, Blessed Anna Maria Taigi. And the Theatines have possession of that church. She was a third order Theatine. And San Crisagno is the name of the church, Basilica di San Crisagno, which is one of Stephanie's favorite tours that we've done, and it is one of the station churches. Funny, I didn't tell you this, or it just happened last week. I was giving a tour, and we went through that church, and because the tour I was giving, the daughter, she was very intrigued by incorruptible blesseds and saints. So I took her to see two, that one and a new one, a blessed, a mother blessed, gosh, it's a hard name for me to say, Clelia, Clelia. So we went to see those two incorruptibles. And when we were leaving the Basilica di San Crisagno, the church, the Basilica of St. Chrysogonus, I ran into a woman. There's a Roman woman who lives kind of far away from where we were. And she I always run into her at the station churches. And so I ran into her always at San Crisagno in the past. And in April, I was showing friends around. And we went to Santa Maria Ada Coeli, which is a beautiful church that sits behind that wedding cake building built in honor of Vittorio Emanuele II, which is in Piazza Venezia. And she was there praying, praying. And I asked her, I said, oh, will you say a Hail Mary for me? Because I thought she was praying the rosary. And she looked at me and she It was 3 p.m. in the afternoon. She's like, I'm not praying my rosary. I'm praying my chaplet. I was like, okay. Look, you can still pray for me. I just thought it was funny that she had to tell me she wasn't praying her rosary at that hour. How foolish am I to think that she should be praying her rosary at 3 p.m. So it was funny. But I ran into her, and she sort of, I don't have the most recognizable face because I have a face that looks like a lot of other people. So everyone always thinks I'm this person's brother or that person's brother. So here we are. There's St. Peter's. And now we're entering the train station that I always go into. So we go to Civitavecchia, Pisa. We also go to Termini that way, the main train station. And we can get to Viterbo. So actually, I've been on the Viterbo line last week. I was on the Civitavecchia Pisa line this week, going to Orbitello. And last week I went to this small little town called Anguillara. But anyways, this is me telling my typical story. So I ran into this woman, and I had to tell her. I said, "Oh, I'm friends with friends. So here's this is it's on time, which is very nice." So I ran into her and I said, "Oh, Senora," and I run into you all the time. I'm friends with Agnese, and you all know Agnese from these lives. She's been on the lives before. And look, here's another friend of mine. Ciao.
Hey, hello.
Doing a live video on YouTube.
Amazing. Hello, Joe.
This is, what's your handle?
My handle?
Your handle on Instagram.
Oh,
This is a seminarian for the Legionnaires of Christ who's on Instagram.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Patricio Bringas. That's
Yeah.
my name.
So you just have to find him I follow him on Instagram, so you can find him there. But he lives on this line as well. So yeah, we're just doing a live. He's praying his rosary.
Yeah.
I was just telling a story. There's this woman that I run into at the station churches, and I ran into her last week.
Okay.
And one of the times I ran into her before that, she was praying her rose. She was praying at Santa Maria Araceli, and I come up to her. She comes and sits next to me. Actually, I was praying myself, and I said, "Oh," and I recognized her. I said, "Oh, Senora, like, will you pray for me, a Hail Mary for me?" She's like, "I'm not praying my rosary. I'm praying the chaplet." Like it was like because it was 3 p.m. She said, "How are you so foolish that you don't know that I'm praying?" The Divine Mercy. So that is fine. But actually, we have met in person before. Okay. No, because I see Patricio's work on hard to talk on social media, and so we connected that way. He does beautiful videos and shows you what it's like to be a religious in Rome, and there's a few followers. I'm on YouTube, so it's a bit different, but he comments on things. He's a good follower. So nice to see you. So here we are. This is the line that I'm on. Train's coming in a couple minutes. Once the train leaves here, we will see St. Peter's. Let me walk you down a bit and show you.
Well, I'm going to take a picture of you making the live.
Yeah. How do I see? Wait, hold on. Wait, this way.
Where are you? Where are you? Here. Hey.
Yeah, there we go. No, it's nice. So this is basically what my conference was on. Not my conference. My presentation today was basically on Catholics engaging in social media. How to do it well, how to share the gospel of Christ via these means. Obviously, right now I'm showing you Rome in a very casual way. Yet that's important too, for you guys to experience Rome, to see Rome as you know, one person experiences it, but as other people experience it, and for you to know that you can experience it that way too. And in your daily life, you experience it. That's the whole point of Crux, Stationalis, that you become a part of the life in Rome, liturgically, spiritually. Have fun. Thanks for the tour. Nice to see your face. I will talk to you soon. dear brother of mine. I'm going to sign off too. So have a nice day, evening for those in Europe, and I will talk to you soon. God bless you.